For so many reasons, it was a historic night for the Buffalo Bills. I'm providing my reaction to the Bills' win over the 49ers today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate you all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the San Francisco 49ers 35-10 and improved to 10-2 on the season and clinched the AFC East Division title for the fifth consecutive season. It's the first time in franchise history the Bills have won the division 5 years in a row. The Bills are the first team since 2009 to win the division with 5 games still remaining on the schedule, one of only 8 teams ever to do it. Josh Allen became the all-time leader in touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills scored 30 or more points in 9 games this season already. That ties a franchise record. 10 wins in 12 games so far this year. Half of those wins by 21 points or more. This is the 6th consecutive season of 10 or more wins for the Buffalo Bills. Oh, by the way, this is their 7th win in a row. Folks, we are living in the good days of being a fan of the Buffalo Bills. And I would encourage you to not take one bit of this for granted. Now, there's more for this team to achieve. I understand we all want more, but take a moment to reflect and appreciate the era of Buffalo Bills football that we are living in. I mean, I just watched the Bills beat the 49ers 35-10 and did all the stuff that I just mentioned. And Josh Allen and Sean McDermott are making snow angels on the field for an ESPN interview. That's the last thing. I watched that before I hit record on this podcast. Are you kidding me? Fun. This is fun. We'll do the things that we do on the post-game podcasts. Things I liked, really. I don't have a whole lot I didn't like. We'll talk offense, defense, special teams. We'll get into what's next for the podcast, what's next for the Bills as we navigate this week and the coming weeks. But I want to keep talking about this offense. What a night for the offense. They score a touchdown on 5 of the first 8 drives of the game. A touchdown. The offensive starters didn't play a snap after the 12:31 mark in the fourth quarter. 372 yards of offense. Again, remind yourself, the starters didn't play essentially the last 12 minutes of the game on offense. 220 rushing yards. Over 6 yards per rush when you take away the kneel downs from Mitch Trubisky at the end of the game. Buffalo's offense goes 7 of 12 on possession downs. 4 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. It's a heck of a day for this offense. Super efficient throwing the football to go with that rushing production. Exactly the type of game you needed to play in those elements. Bills are built for it. They got the quarterback. They got the physical receivers. They got a deep stable of backs. They got a good offensive line. They got a big play defense. They're built for it. Nice to bring that West Coast California team. It's been 65 degrees all week in San Francisco. Come on. Come on to Western New York. Here's a bunch of snow. It's going to be in the upper 20s. Feels like it's in the teens. Come on over here in December. Let's play a night game and see how that goes for you. Come on, Miami Dolphins. Come on up. Come on up from South Florida. Let's play a game in December. See how that goes. Oh, you want to go to the playoffs? You got to come to Buffalo. You got to play in places like this. Bills have a team built for these moments. And a big reason why is their quarterback, Josh Allen. What a special night for Josh Allen. What a special night. First quarterback in NFL history to have a rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown in the same game. And that touchdown, you know the one I'm talking about, one of the coolest touchdowns I've ever seen. First of all, crazy good catch by Amari Cooper. That's kind of lost in the whole thing, but that's a crazy good catch. One-handed, reaching out behind him. And Josh Allen said after the game, that's why he went over there. It was kind of a bad ball. He wanted to go over there and make sure that it didn't get tipped or anything like that. Cooper secures the catch, laterals it to Josh Allen, who doesn't just run it in. It's not like he just ran it in. Puts the cape on. He's flying through the air. Extends his arm, hits the pylon. I mean, one of those touchdowns you'll never forget. The pictures, you'll never stop seeing them. When Josh Allen is inducted in the Hall of Fame, that play is going to be on the reel. All the stuff, folks. All the stuff. Unbelievable moment in the history of the Buffalo Bills and in your fandom. You won't ever forget it. The whole thing. The whole thing. One of the coolest touchdowns I've ever seen. On a night where Josh Allen goes 13 of 17, 148 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. He also becomes the all-time leader in touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills. Oh, he also tied the NFL all-time record for games with 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. 22 of those. What a night. I mean, what a night. Fun, fun, fun. I mean, that's just the word, fun. The visuals of the game, the snow, the fans, Josh Allen doing cool stuff, big plays from the running backs, defense taking away the football. Meanwhile, you're checking all those boxes we just talked about, the AFC East, all the historic things coming out of this game. Just fun. These are the good days of being a fan of the Buffalo Bills. Now, there's more to do, right? There's more to do. There's more to do. And we all want it. The team wants it. They're hungry. But one at a time, one thing at a time. And so far, a big box being checked by clinching the AFC East in this football game. We have a lot more to talk about. We got to talk about the running backs, the offensive line, the weapons, defense, special teams, all kinds of stuff. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Hey, Locked On Bills fans, I know you're like me and your holiday shopping list is, let's just say, far from complete. Well, if that's the case, I've got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fans in your life. Perhaps you've heard of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball, and will make the ideal gift. It's created and used by the Gronkowski brothers. Ice Shakers has sold over 1 million bottles, and they've changed the game with the workout bottles, and this is the gift you've been looking for. Go to iceshaker.com and use code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout to save 25% off your order. These things are high-quality, kitchen-grade, stainless steel bottles that won't absorb odor like the plastic bottles do. They have this patented twist in agitator that breaks up powders, but is silent when you shake it instead of the annoying ball. I'm that guy. I'm not afraid to admit it. When I go to the gym, I go to the sauna every time afterwards, and I mix up my protein shake in my protein shaker, and everyone hears it. You know what I'm talking about, that ball clanking around. They don't have to deal with that anymore. Ice Shaker has solved that. I'm no longer that guy now that I have an ice shaker. And the agitator works as a strainer as well and makes it very solid for tailgating. Great cup to mix some drinks. So order your team branded bottles. You can get a Bills ice shaker. Check them out. IceShaker.com and use code LOCKEDONNFL. That'll get you 25% off your order. Ice Shakers, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice Shakers. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Folks, I love this time of year. My wife, she works so hard to make our home warm and cozy during the Christmas season. How do you stay cozy during the winter months? For some, wrapping up in a blanket with a mug of hot chocolate or watching a movie with a family is the best way to spend the month of December. Therapy is a great way to bring yourself some comfort that never goes away, even when seasons change. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you do is fill out a brief questionnaire. That'll get you matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Therapy is super helpful. It's can help you learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It's not just for people who have experienced major trauma. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOn today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOn. We got more to talk about with this offense. We're just going to have fun here. I had fun watching that game. We're going to have fun here talking about all the fun we had watching it. How about the running backs in this game? All three of them. I love how the Bills are just getting all three of these guys going. James Cook, 14 rushes, 107 yards. That 65-yard run was big, right? Kind of gave the Bills their first two-score lead of the game. Big moment. And James also added a 13-yard reception. A couple dirty runs along the way. That's to be expected. But James was able to get some explosive runs and help keep this offense moving. And obviously the 65-yard touchdown was huge. Ray Davis, 11 for 63, also added a 4-yard catch. He got the scoring started. And I think being able to give him the ball late in the game in that fourth quarter, get some first downs, get that game over with was big. Of course, he provides that physical element to the run game. Also kind of taking over as what appears to be the primary return guy, at least in the kick return duties. And then Ty Johnson, of course, the best pass protecting block on the team. 5 rushes, 28 yards. He also had a 9-yard catch. It's a good group of backs. Good group of backs that Joe Brady knows how to get them all going. And you have to also talk about the offensive line. You don't have that efficiency passing the ball 220 rushing yards without your offensive line doing their thing. Josh Allen didn't get sacked. Only hit one time. Again, 220 rushing yards. Big hat tip to the offensive line. And Alec Anderson, obviously a big part of the equation. It's not just the 5 starters, but Alec Anderson is a big tight end coming in and playing a lot of snaps in this game. Needed it, right? Type of game where you needed that type of physical element. Use some big people and move people out of the way and get a bunch of rushing yards. How about the weapons? Dawson Knox, 2 catches for 56 yards on two targets. How good of a job has he done the last few weeks that Dalton Kincaid hasn't played? Not that the numbers have been huge, but some big plays down the field. Being consistent, catching the ball, and making sure that there's still a tight end element to this passing offense. I think against Kansas City and this game, Dawson Knox has been very good for the Buffalo Bills. Khalil Shakir still doing his thing. 4 catches. The Bills only completed 14 passes in the game. It's not like there's huge receiving production for these players, but Shakir just continuing to make himself available. Mesh routes, a couple of screens that didn't quite have the production that they typically do, but still a couple of times being able to get loose down the field. Amari Cooper, 3 catches on 3 targets, was able to get some buckets. Hey, just go win a leverage battle, hit him with the throw. It was important to be able to do that. And of course, the one catch that led to the Josh Allen passing and receiving touchdown was a really cool moment. Mac Hollins, touchdown reception, 3rd and goal. Kind of a fade situation. Josh trusted the leverage that he had. on the defensive back, made a very accurate throw. Mack made a great catch. Toe tap, touchdown, put it on the board. Even Quentin Morris with a nice little 14-yard catch. Now, Josh is making it work with these guys. And I just love the efficiency. Even in a game like this, still having a few opportunities down the field, sprinkling them in very wisely. Finding some completions, converting some third downs, leaning on that rushing offense. It was really fun to watch all of that come together in this game. Let's talk some defense here. A lot of good here on the defensive side of the football as well. Of course, anytime you only give up 10 points, that's helpful. 3 of 10 on third downs, that's helpful. 2 takeaways on defense, not forgetting the 1 on special teams as well. Limited them to 239 total yards. 49ers go 1 for 3 in the red zone. That's winning football. That's winning defensive football when you can limit an opponent like that. Meanwhile, your offense is going to score 5 touchdowns on their first 8 drives. Bills' defense gave up some runs. That happened for sure. I think that's to be expected in a game like this. And then they tighten the screws in the red zone. Hey, you want to get a few rushing yards, that's fine, but the Bills will tighten the screws. They got them in some negative situations, took away the football a couple of times. The Bills played their style of defense. This is the type of defense they want to be. It's tough to score on them. It's especially tough to score enough to beat them. So, yeah, there were some dirty runs in this game for sure. Or not dirty runs. I mean, where the Bills kind of got creased a little bit. And they're chasing. But they tightened the screws when it mattered most. How about Taylor Rapp? He's been so good all season long. But 2 tackles in this game, or 2 plays in this game, that essentially took 14 points off the board for San Francisco. The first one, the shoestring tackle on Christian McCaffrey early in the game. He was streaking. Taylor Rapp gets him down with a shoestring tackle. And then the forced fumble on the goal line that Christian Benford winds up picking up and returning for a bunch of yards. But literally, I mean, taking 14 points off the board for San Francisco. And Taylor Rapp has saved this defense so many different times this year. How about Greg Rousseau? Dude fills up the box score once again, has a sack, 3 tackles for loss, fumble recovery. Could have had another sack, maybe 2 more. Missed them. You feel his presence every game. Christian Benford, big-time pass breakup on Juwan Jennings. Good physical hit. Also had that fumble recovery. Rasul Douglas showing up with a tackle for loss early in the game that put them in a 2nd and 14. Also had a big pass breakup. Probably should have had a pick. Daquan Jones coming through with a tackle for loss to put them in a negative situation. But obviously the big story on defense is the return of Matt Milano, who played a lot more than I anticipated. It looked like he played every snap defensively that wasn't dime, which is interesting for a number of reasons. First of all, they must feel really comfortable with where he's at to be able to step in and like play literally every snap that wasn't dime defense. But then 2 more things. I didn't see a single snap of 3 linebackers. And I did see a lot of dime. They're pulling Milano out. They're putting Cam Lewis in there. And so I'm sure eventually the Bills will kind of get back to not doing that. But for now, they're willing to do that. And they're still telling you, we don't want to run 3 linebackers. We don't want to do that. Even in this type of game. So obviously Milano, a big part of the equation defensively for the Bills down the stretch. I think it's hard to watch the live broadcast and feel like Milano played great or he had a big impact. 5 tackles in the game. And I think if nothing else for him to get out there, to play, to get back into a game rhythm. He's spent like 420 days since he's played in a football game. You know, this is all very, very helpful as he probably ramps up. And I think the impact will continue, you know, incrementally every week. But for him to come in and play as much as he did, And then for the Bills to also not bring in a third linebacker, to still play a ton of dime, pretty telling for what they want to be defensively. So welcome back, Matt Milano, excuse me. All right, we got to talk special teams. We got to recap my predictions, talk about what's next for the Bills and this podcast, folks. Be sure to stick with me. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. I had some fun on FanDuel during the Bills game. I had some props that I picked up. I had the 49ers under 9.5 second half points. Nailed it. I had James Cook over 70 rushing yards. Nailed it. And I had Brock Purdy under 230 passing yards. Nailed it. The one that I didn't get, though, was I had Khalil Shakir over 55 receiving yards, and I think maybe the circumstances of the game and the weather kind of took away from that. But it's always fun to have a little action over at FanDuel. Makes things a little bit more exciting. So never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book of the NFL. Folks, there's nothing like being at the stadium. Could you imagine being at Highmark Stadium for Sunday Night Football against the 49ers and seeing all the snow, but also seeing that Josh Allen touchdown? Are you kidding me? Special. And if you want to get to Highmark Stadium, go to Game Time. Get the Game Time app. It's the fast and easy way to purchase tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. The app is awesome. It's easy to navigate. They give you flash deals. They give you a picture from your seat. They send the ticket right to your phone, so you have to dig through emails to find it, and they specialize in last-minute ticket specials. So check it out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, let's talk a little special teams, recap my predictions, and talk about what's next. So a lot of good things on special teams. Starting with Tyler Bass, goes 5 for 5 on extra points. Obviously, weird footing and all that. I thought all of his kicks were really pure on the extra points. The one field goal he did miss was from 49, wide left. I'm not going to make too much of it. I thought for the most part he was pretty pure on his kicks. I thought Sam Martin was terrific on all 3 of his punts. Terrific. I think Sam Martin's quietly had several good games here lately. And the same thing happened last year where he kind of heated up down the stretch. Remember, he was the special teams player of the month last year in December. How about Brandon Codrington? I thought he was great in the punt return game. It's unfortunate that his 75-yard punt return was negated due to a hold by Cole Bishop, but that's a tough situation, right? A rookie, snow game, handling the ball. Did a nice job. Cole Bishop with the big forced fumble. Jalen Virgil, fumble recovery. Virgil also downed that punt at the 5. Him and Cam Lewis are the 2 gunners for this team. Now, I wonder when Keon Coleman's back and Mac Hollins is a little bit more freed up to play special teams, if that changes. But right now it's Virgil and Cam Lewis. I will say that the Bills, I thought, lived a little dangerously, kicking the ball to Deebo Samuel on so many kickoffs. I don't know if it was hard to get distance on the ball to get touchbacks, but obviously some explosive returns there later on that in a tighter game could have been costly. So mostly really good on special teams, minus, a missed PAT, a crucial penalty, and then kind of that choice to kick to Deebo. On my predictions, I did really well. My first prediction was what the Bills would have 150 rushing yards. They crushed that. 220 rushing yards. I predicted 3 touchdowns from Josh Allen. We got that. Technically, he had 4. He had the rushing touchdown, the pass to Mac Hollins, and then on the play, he got credited for a passing and a receiving touchdown. So we hit the 3, and we technically got 1 more. I predicted that Josh Allen would not be sacked in this game. That happened. He did not get sacked. I missed this one. I predicted that Rasul Douglas would have his first takeaway of the season, an interception, a forced fumble, or a fumble recovery. Didn't happen. Had a chance at an interception, but he didn't catch it. That's coming. Like, Rasul is definitely due. So maybe he'll just get a bunch here down the stretch. That'll be fun. And I also predicted that the Bills would win this game. So we go 4 for 5 on predictions this week. Next up for the Bills, 2 road games. At the Rams, at the Lions. Obviously, that Lions one feels like a big one for this, kind of through the lens of it being two heavyweight teams. The Bills going on the road. Detroit, obviously outstanding. And I think they're probably the 2 best teams in the NFL right now, the Lions and the Bills. So that'll be fun to see and kind of see where both teams are at against each other. Then you finish with 3 divisional games: Patriots, Jets, and then the Patriots. So all of this is important because the Bills have checked the big box with the AFC East. Now it's about getting that number 1 seed. And the Bills are 1 game behind the Chiefs, who just keep finding ridiculous ways to win. Their last 4 wins are insane. Of course, the Raiders fiasco on Black Friday at the end. A 30-27 win over the Panthers. Took a game-winning drive by Mahomes at the end. And the Panthers kicked like 4 field goals of 35 yards or less. They just couldn't punch it in. The block kick against Denver. And then an overtime win over the Bucs. It's like, come on. But they keep stacking wins. And so the Bills need for them to lose at least once and win the rest, or whatever it takes for the Bills to be tied or better in terms of record with the Chiefs. But the number 1 seed is going to be big. Not only because the Chiefs had a week 6 bye. So they had an early season bye, so they really want it. But we haven't seen this Bills team have an opportunity to go on a playoff run as the 1 seed. Obviously, that's huge. You get a first-round bye, so you get healthy while everyone else has to play a game. You play the lowest advancing seed. You're guaranteed to play every game at your stadium. I want to see that. I want that number 1 seed. And in order for that to happen, the Bills have to take care of their business, and the Chiefs got to pick up a loss or 2. Their next game is against the Chargers. Then they go at Cleveland. They host the Texans and then finish at Pittsburgh and at Denver. They can lose some games here, but at some point, the Angels in the end zone got to, close their wings and get the heck out of town so that way they can't have all this good fortune all the time. What's next for this podcast is the All-22 review. Spend Monday all day long in the tape studying it. I'll get you an All-22 podcast as the next one. If you're part of our Substack, which I encourage you to be. Substack has been so cool. There's a link in today's show notes to be part of it. I'm writing a bunch of articles, like 3-4 a week. And one of them is the All-22 post where I give you, it's varies a little bit, but it's 30 to 45 minutes of me breaking down clips from the game. You see the video of the play, do voiceover analysis. So you want to get that file, you want to get that video, check out the Substack. There's a link in today's show notes to be part of that. So that'll be next. Then we have herd mentality. Then we'll start getting ready for the Rams. And the Bills will start looking for their 11th win of the season. Exciting times. We're going to talk through another playoff season. Hopefully a really deep playoff run. And I thank you for being here. I thank you for tuning in and going on this journey with me. It's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing this and grateful for anyone who listens. All right, that's it for today. My throat's going. You guys probably picked up end of the week on the Saturday podcast. My throat is just very, very sore. So I battled through as hard as I can today. Hopefully we just get better every day and by the end of the week I'm doing better, but it's a battle right now to talk, but we'll keep powering through. Got too much to say about this team to not figure it out. But we'll do it all we can. We got all the stuff going, throat drops and the tea and all kinds of stuff that I'm doing. So doing the best we can. Thank you for being here. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Enjoy your Victory Monday. Go Bills. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.